I'm gonna get my begonia hole greased up? Man. You getting your butthole waxed? No! Listen, Mr. Mammoth. Mr. Mammoth, this is kind of before your time. So I understand your confusion. Let me explain a little bit of the lore behind this, alright? Croaker is already well versed in this. I think Game Boy might be kind of... I know there's a couple of new guys. Behind the desk, he might be scratching his buttocks a little bit. Like, what is this guy talking about? Begonia hole. We all have a begonia hole, alright? It's a hole in which you place begonias. That is what a begonia hole is. Now, I, for a long time, have kept my begonia hole nice and clean. I'm very careful about that. I'm kind of hygienic that way. I like to keep it well lubricated and oiled up so that it's good to go. Because you understand, when you play fighting games, especially fighting games, out of all sorts of video games, you're going to get very agitated. You're going to get very agitated. And when you get agitated, your begonia hole starts to pucker up. It starts making faces. It starts making sounds. You don't want your begonia hole to be dry when you are playing fighting games. It's not bueno. It is not bueno. You want your begonia hole to be nice, lubricated, and loose, basically. You want it loose. You want a nice, loose begonia hole. You want a nice, hygienic, loose begonia hole. Now, I have not been able to lube my begonia hole since I started working. Since I started working about 2 months ago. Legally, in my state, it's a very complicated thing. Legally, in my state, I can lubricate my begonia hole, no problem. Medical field got together, a bunch of people got together, we all had a vote, and said it is healthy to have a well-oiled, lubed begonia hole. And having a dry begonia hole is unhealthy. So we passed a law that said that we could have oiled, lubed begonia holes, and that then we would be healthy again. Unfortunately, the people that I work for are based in a state that is not this state. And the state that they are based in still does not believe in healthy, well-groomed, hygienic begonia holes. They believe begonia holes are the devil and should remain chapped and blistered for the rest of our days. Very backwards thinking, honestly. But here's the thing. I've heard recently that they have eased up on the restriction in our state for that. So understand that even though I am working for a company that doesn't want me to really grease my begonia hole, they have decided not to pursue well-lubricated begonia holes. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool, right? So I can go back to greasing and lubricating my begonia hole, which is fantastic because I basically have lesions on my begonia hole. Because, I mean, after that Injustice 2 shit, like, man, I was having a hard time with that Injustice 2 stuff. And a nice begonia hole lubrication would have really set me straight. I'd probably still be playing it. I gotta be honest with you. That shit helps out a ton. And when I'm... Just to kind of clarify, I'm not talking about, like, smoking reefer, okay? I'm not a stoner. Maybe Croaker's a bit of a stoner, but none of us are stoners. None of us are stoners. I'm not talking about the devil's lettuce. The devil's lebus. I'm not talking about the devil's lebus. I am talking about begonias